Hello, everybody. Hang on. What's going on? Here we are, Monday morning, everybody, bright and early, blowing my nose. I just had a false start. I tried to start my podcast and it said it couldn't find my stuff. I was all freaked out. I went, oh no, oh no. But I got it going again. So here we are. I think we are here anyway. Wow. It was a great weekend. Did you all have a great weekend? Did you watch some of my back episodes? Did you watch any of the back episodes? I hope you did. There's some funny ones. There's some good ones. I think last Friday I told you to be sure to watch Mike Cheese and Brain Jerky. Those two episodes I really like because they're really true episodes, like true. Wow. Man. Kelly Bosch blew my mind last night. Right late, she posted another AI video, and it was so amazing. It looks so real. It's like a video of New York street scene, and it's just unbelievably real. Now you could like nitpick and see something that's not exactly real in there, but for the most part, it was scary good. Yeah, it was scary good. I suggest you all watch that one, man. It was shocking. It was shocking. I was blown away. I was going, God, she is so diverse. Anyway, I'm raving. I got up this morning really early and I had messages from France and videos to watch, AI videos that my collaborators that we're doing together. And hi, Phinia. I saw all the stuff this morning. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. We communicate on WhatsApp, but then we meet in the virtual world later in the day if we have stuff to talk about face to face, avatar to avatar. But basically, we communicate on WhatsApp. Somebody asked me about how I feel about surviving, being alive, and I survived. Yeah, here I am, and so far so good. At this point in my life, I'm happy to be alive. So I guess I'm lucky, Lucky Lee. That my friends call me that. They go, Lucky Lee. I do a lot of stuff. I have more, but I'll tell you, I have more failures than successes. So maybe it's the approach that I do so many things that some of them are bound to work, I read a story about serial entrepreneurs, and I realized that's what I was. I've been a serial entrepreneur my whole life, just scrambling around, trying to survive, and doing anything. So I think some of you know what that's all about. We've all done that, Yeah, I survived, I guess. Somebody asked me. I would say that this is so. I shouldn't say that before each question because obviously somebody asked me the questions, but I say it, and I've noticed that when I was watching my podcast that I say, somebody asked me this, somebody asked me that. Of course, that's what I'm doing. I'm answering questions. It's sort of I don't know what it is. Anyway, I survived because I was lucky, and I'm clicking my pin here for you. Somebody asked me if I have any great recording studio stories. I've told a few, but I would say recording studios are boring places, man. You just get in there and you grind, and it's not like playing and jamming with somebody or something. It's just a grueling, hard thing, going in the studios. It's not that much fun, on the level of 1 to 10, I would give it about a 5 or a 4. It's not something you do. It's hard work in the studio. It's less so now that everything's digital. I'll tell you what's good about the digital age. It used to be in the old days, A 20 minutes worth of recording tape, 2-inch recording tape, running at 30 ips was like $120. So every 20 minutes it was $120. So it was like you were bleeding it. Whenever you were recording it, you were bleeding, like you're bleeding money. So it was really hard to just fuck around in the recording studio because it was $120 every 20 minutes. So it's like became serious as a heart attack. Now with digital, it costs nothing. And it's so cool. And I know some people say, oh, analog is where it's at. And digital is good enough for me, man. It's good enough for me. Maybe some of you are real critical listeners and you just swear you have to have analog to be happy. Whatever rocks your boat. But I tell you, it's really nice. Now you can record, you can experiment, you can do anything you want. You can just fuck around in there and it doesn't cost anything. And I think that's cool. Yeah, we're living in the future. Oh, somebody asked me about the audience. Here I go again. Somebody asked me. No, about the audience in the Midnight Special, the TV show, the Midnight Special. They noticed that the audience was just sitting there, not responding. I didn't even notice the audience. And it's funny that you mentioned that because I never watched that show, so I wouldn't have seen how the audience was. And when I was on stage, there was lights in our face, and I couldn't see the audience, and I didn't notice that they were happy or not happy, So I don't know. Maybe they were just sitting there. Maybe they'd been there for hours. Maybe it's a grueling show, and the audience was wiped out by the time we played. I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah. Who knows what the audience was thinking? Maybe they didn't like it. Who knows? But yeah, maybe they weren't into it. I have no idea what they were going through. I didn't realize they weren't enjoying it, but I didn't enjoy doing that much either. So I guess we're all in the same thing. My first acid trip, man, that's a funny question. My first acid trip. This is really funny. When I came to Hollywood to join that band that I played in for a year and a half, 6 nights a week, 4 sets a night, where I met everybody in the whole world while I was playing there. When I came to Hollywood, the night before we started playing, we went to a nightclub on Hollywood Boulevard called the Haunted House. Now, isn't that funny? It was like a haunted house. It was all done up like that. It was a really corny place. And somebody said here, and they said, and they were gonna they said here, take some acid. And I thought of acid, it would burn a hole in my tongue. I'd never heard of LSD at the time, and I'd never smoked pot at the time. I hadn't done anything at the time. So my first time getting high, I took acid, I didn't smoke pot for like a year later. I smoked pot for the first time. Anyway, I said, no, I thought they were going to put acid in my mouth, it would burn a hole in my tongue or something. They go, no, LSD. And I go, what's that? They go, don't worry about it, just take it. And I took it, and we were tripping out. And so we were in there in the haunted house, and we got real high and everything. And I don't remember much more after that. We wound up at somebody's house. We were all sleeping there. And then the next night we started playing at that club, and we played for a year and a half, 6 nights a week. But that was my first acid trip. Yeah. Right there in Hollywood. It was wild too. I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know what LSD was. I'd never heard of LSD before. I just took it. And it was a life-changing event. My life was never the same after that instant, man. It was really funny. I mean, I'd never smoked even pot. I'd never done an upper or a binny or anything, Back in the day, there used to be binnies, and you could buy them at truck stops. All the truck drivers would pop binnies to stay awake and drive all them ridiculous hours. So I was in this band once in Fresno, and it was like that band, Hayward Lee and the Marauders, and it was a big kind of show band with 2 drummers, and it was like a whole thing, I was a little organ player kid back there. We had this bass player, and he was strung out on binnies, man. And he was standing at the front of the stage playing his bass, and he was on binnies. And all of a sudden, he was just pinned out to his. He was just It was like this trasher guy, and he was pinned out, completely pinned out of his mind, man. He was just gone. So, hello, big kitty. Anyway, he stood at the front of the stage playing his bass, and he fell off the front of the stage frontwards, just like this. He was like pinned. He was just frozen. And he fell off in the stage, and he kept playing all the way down, and he landed on his face, on his chest and everything in his bass. But he didn't. He kept playing all the way down. He was just standing there, man. He just, bam, and he landed on the floor, and they picked him up and everything. Set him back on the stage, but he was gonzo on bennies. But like that used to be before there was meth, there was bennies. And you could buy them at truck stops, and some people were abusing them. But I wasn't doing any drugs then. I had never done any drugs. And you got to understand, to this day, I've never smoked a cigarette, and I've never tasted coffee. That's funny. I tell people I've never tasted coffee and I've never smoked a cigarette. And they say, how is that possible? And I'll tell you why. It reminded me of my mother's breath. You know, every morning I woke up, I smelled cigarettes and coffee. And it imprinted me pretty heavily. I never wanted to do that. So to this day, I've never tasted coffee and I've never smoked a cigarette. So I joined that band, and I took acid, and I had no idea what acid was. LSD was that, you know, and man, we were high. Didn't even know what to expect. I had no idea. I'd never heard the term before. Oh, the kitty's choking. Oh, little boy. Can you hear him? You got a hairball? You got a hairball? You got a hairball, big boy? Come over here. The kitty's choking. I don't know what to do. I can't help him. He's got to work on his hairball himself. So that was my first acid trip, man, at the haunted house in Hollywood. Oh, somebody asked me about, somebody here, I see it again. A killer shrimp. Someone wanted to know about if it comes with the tails on. Well, the original killer shrimp dish had the shell and the tail and the little feet and everything on the shrimp. So the shrimp are the tastiest when you cook them in the shell. But some people prefer to have their shrimp peel for them. They don't want to do the thing with their peel. There's some women, their nails, they don't want to peel the shrimp and stuff. So some people get the shrimp peeled, but they're not nearly as tasty. The texture changes when you cook them out of the shell. It becomes like a whole different shrimp, you know, but it's the same thing. But when you cook them out of the shell, the texture is different. So, yeah, I like when the shell, but even when we take the shells off, we leave the tails on. We leave the tails on, but we take the shell off and the legs and everything. And some people do order it that way, but it's really best tasting if you eat it with the original with the shells. The shell on the shrimp, and you pull the feet off, and I'll tell you a little secret. When you pull the feet off, you face them down so they're pointing down. Because if you face them up and you pull them off, they're like little springs. The little feet go blink, and they sprinkle sauce on you. So we have bibs. People wear bibs because it's a real sloppy deal. I love killer shrimp. Yeah. And for 20 years, that's all we sold. We didn't have nothing else on the menu, only killer shrimp, just one item on the menu. It was the smartest little restaurant concept. I was so proud of it. Anyway. Somebody asked me if I have any Winterland memories. Other than when I played guitar there and it was a fiasco, I don't really have any Winterland memories. I mean, I went there and saw The Last Waltz, but that wasn't one of my concerts. But I liked that concert. That was fun. But yeah, I don't have many Winterland memories. Winterland was just Winterland. It was just a big old place, you know. I have lots of film memories, but not too many of the Winterland. I told a story yesterday about Winterland. Yeah. Oh, someone wanted to know if some label came and offered me a deal and wanted me to make an album, would I make an album? I guess. I don't know. That seems like such a crazy question because no record label would do that. I mean, I'm 80 years old almost. You know, come on, man. This rock and roll thing, it's for young people, man. You know, music, yeah, that time, yeah, yeah. I'm not going to do that. And I'm sure no one would offer me that deal. But I think about recording again. You know, I'm always recording and tripping around in my studio. I just, it costs nothing. I just do it. I do it for fun, but I don't do complete songs. I just mess with ideas and do stuff. I don't really look at it like, oh, I'm making another album, you know, because that just seems so silly. Yeah, that seems so silly. I mean, some of the people might think, oh, I'd like to hear another album. You probably wouldn't like to hear it anyway. If you want to hear what I'm doing, go listen to the thing with the group photo. That episode a few episodes ago, there was a group photo of the Mesa Boogie Party, and I'm playing. And underneath it, we put this song I recorded. That's the kind of stuff I do in my studio. I just sort of play and sing and babble, and yeah, I really have fun. I hope you could hear in that song how much fun I was having. And the reason I like that song, I've told you before, is because I didn't drop a note. I played the whole song and I didn't drop a note. That's amazing. I didn't even know a chocolate payday existed. Someone said they went and hello, look who's here, everybody. Look who's here. If you step on my shit today, I'll be mad. Hello. Look at my hand. I got Band-Aids on my hand. I don't know if you can see them. See these two Band-Aids? He got me this morning, man. He comes up when I first wake up, you know, and he comes up and he jumps up on me every morning when I wake up. He jumps right in my chest and he puts his head against my face. And cats are weird. I'll tell you a story about cats. Like, you know, if you pet a cat and you're paying attention, they're cool. But if you're petting them and you're not paying attention to what you're doing, it really freaks them out. And they can sense it instantly. It's really weird. They have this sense about them. Like, if you're just like stroking them and sort of not paying attention to what you're doing, it gets them, man. Come back. Be a kitty. Come back. Yeah, come here. Nope. Yeah. He knew I was talking about him. Come here. Anyway, if you're petting a cat and you're not paying attention, it freaks him out. So this morning he was sitting on me and I started thinking about something else other than him, you know, and I was touching him and he just instantly turned around and bit me and put 2 holes in me. And you want to know something? The big cats are the same way, the tigers and all those things. If you pet them and you're paying attention to them, they're cool. But if you just kind of touch them and carry on a conversation with somebody else, it just totally freaks them out. Instantly, they know you're not paying attention. I don't know why. Come back. You silly boy. Instantly, they know if you're not paying attention. That's what's so weird. I wish you could see the kitty. He's laying on his back being so funny. Hello, big boy. He's funny today. He bit me, man. I whacked him when he bit me too, but he drew blood, man. He bit me good. They can tell when you're not paying attention. It's so weird. I don't know how they know, but it's just the way you touch them. They can feel that you're not tuned into them, and it just really annoys them. And they did. And the tigers were the same way, man. You could be petting a tiger and paying attention to him. It's totally cool. But if you start talking to somebody or something and you touch them, they know instantly, and it freaks them out. Hello, big kitty. It freaks them out, man. And anyway, big cats, I thought that was really interesting when I had tigers and stuff, that they were just like the little cats. So little cats are cool. I like my little cat. And they're little carnivores, little dangerous suckers, man. He bit me this morning, man. In an instant, like I didn't pay, my mind drifted for just a second. It was so weird. Like, it couldn't have been more than just a few seconds. I was thinking about something else, and instantly he turned around and bit my hand. because it was touching him, and he could feel that it wasn't. It's so weird. And the big cats are the same way. I think that's really interesting that they're so sensitive that they can tell if you're paying attention. Think about that. They can tell if you're paying attention. That's amazing. And I never knew they had a chocolate payday. I guess I missed that. I don't eat candy every second, but yesterday was funny. Friday was funny. I never played at Wayne Manor in San Jose. I remember that place, though. I remember that place, and a lot of people played there. But I never played at Wayne Manor. Yeah. Somebody asked me if I interacted with Marriott and Frampton when they did the Film or Live album. I don't believe Frampton was in the band at that time, but the answer is no. I didn't interact with those guys at that gig. And a few episodes ago, I told a story about going on tour with Humble Pie, anyway, in Europe. But that's the story. You'll have to go back and find it. But I don't believe Frampton was in the band at that time when they did that live album. Yeah, they did a live album and used my audience. I thought it was really nice of me to do that. Anyway, okay, this is gonna blow your minds, and I know you say no. You played on this album with Mike Bloomfield. I did not ever play. This is why I'm saying is my mind going, I don't care what the album says or what they did. I never played on an album with Mike Bloomfield. I never played with him even once in my life. And so if I'm on an album that they call the Mill Valley Bunch, maybe they got a bootleg of me playing somewhere, but I definitely didn't do no sessions or no recording or no jamming with Mike Bloomfield. I remember he contacted me and tried to suck me into one of his little scam record deals. And I said, no, I didn't want any part of it. But, and I liked him. He was a gregarious, interesting guy. And I always thought he was a lot of fun. But he was also, there was an air of desperation about him every second. He was kind of full of angst. Yeah, I didn't play on that record. I don't care what it says on the record. I don't care what it says. I didn't play on that record. Now, could I be wrong? I don't think so. In fact, I'm 100% positive I'm not wrong. And I know that someone piped in and said, no, you played on the Mill Valley Bunch. I didn't play with Mike Bloomfield. Now, did he find a bootleg that somebody recorded at one of my shows and used a song on one of his scam albums? I don't know. But I didn't play with him. Now, somebody's going to go listen to that and tell me, no, you did. But I don't believe it. Do you know what I mean was a B-side? Yeah, you're right. It was a B-side. The radio stations and the record label, they all flipped it over. It was unanimous that was the A-side. I thought it was B-side. So shows you what I know. Shows you what I know. The Warner Grand Theater in San Pedro. I felt like I rescued it. I don't know. Maybe they scammed me. I don't know. These people contacted me, told me they were going to demolish the Warner Grand Theater in San Pedro, this classic Art Deco theater that was built right at the end of the Art Deco era. And it was the most beautiful theater, and it was in pristine condition because it happened they built it right before the Great Depression, so it stayed closed all during that time. It was never beat up, and it was just the most pristine. You can find it. There was pictures of it somewhere on the internet, the Warner Grand Theater in San Pedro. Anyway, I went there, and they had, I don't know if they did it for my benefit, but they had guys there cataloging all the fixtures. They were going to auction off all the fixtures in the place, and they had people on ladders taking pictures and stuff. Now maybe they did that to scam me. I don't know. But anyway, my partner Ricky and I, Killer Shrimp, we bought the Warner Grand Theater. It had storefronts also on the front of the building. It was like a block long. It was this huge building. It's still there to this day. And so we bought it and we kept it for a year or two. We lived in the Warner Grand Theater. I lived in that theater. It was so much fun. It was like, it was crazy fun. My boxer Lionel was afraid of that theater because it was sort of scary at night. It was all dark, and he had something about that theater scared him, and he's a guy, really tough guy, but the theater freaked him out a little bit. But I lived in that theater and had a lot of good times there, and we threw a couple of concerts there, but we really never did anything with it. And then I wound up selling it to the city of Los Angeles, and it became a historical landmark. So now I sort of saved, Ricky and I, we sort of saved the Warner Grand Theater, and now it's a historical landmark, and it'll never be torn down. And it's just a great, amazing thing. Like all the stuff they learned during the Deco era, building all those theaters, they put into there was 2 or 3 of these theaters that were exactly the same in LA, and the other ones were turned into shopping centers or whatever. They were all ruined, but this is the last pristine one. And so it's still there, and it's still pristine. And it's really cool. Madonna, remember that album when she was first starting out, and there was a picture of her with a cigarette in a bathroom and a toilet, a beautiful tile bathroom and a toilet, smoking a cigarette. That was filmed at, that video was filmed at the Warner Grand Theater, our theater. Anyway, a lot of famous stuff was there. I forget which comedian did a special there. And it was really funny because his special on TV, it looked like it was funny. And when he was filming it, it wasn't funny at all. And all the crew and everybody were going, man, this guy's not funny at all. But they put fake laughter in and made it seem like it was funny. But nobody was laughing anyway. Who was that guy? I'll have to remember his name. Okay. But I didn't remodel the Warner Grand. There was no remodeling to do. It was a pristine theater. I didn't touch it, man. We didn't mess with it at all. We kept it there. Although I must say that we had a punk show there one time, which was a big mistake. The people were going crazy in the theater, and this guy ran with his head, and he ran into a wall, a big plaster, beautiful Art Deco wall, and he just put his head right through the wall, man. He was so nuts. This guy just ran and butted the wall and put a big hole in it. And anyway, after that, we didn't have any more punk shows there. It was funny, though. Somebody said, do I see any difference getting high and not getting high? It's really funny, but I don't feel much different not getting high. I really don't, In fact, and I got high for my whole life up until just a short time ago. But I don't feel any different. Yeah, I feel the same. Maybe I'm a little more hyper now, because I'm not as loaded every second. But I don't really notice any difference. I'm still the same stupid ass cheery person I always am. Yeah. Am I glad I'm not getting high anymore? Yeah, I kind of like it. You know what I like about it? I like dreaming. I dream a lot. Man, my vision is weird today. Are my glasses dirty? What is happening here? What are you all doing out there? I'm just running my mouth and you guys are just sitting there. What are you doing? Are you happy today? It was about 10 after 6 or something, 15 after when I started the podcast this morning. And I already went to the market before that. One thing about living in LA, there's markets open 24 hours a day. Within a mile or two of where I live, there's 5 markets, big giant supermarkets that stay open all the time. And it's just crazy. It's crazy. You can go out at any time of the day or night and there's markets open. I kind of like that. Mike, this microphone is a Shure microphone. Somebody wanted to know what kind of mic it was. It's Shure mic. You see them on all the podcasts. I don't know what number it is. Somebody will chime in and tell us what number it is. But you see these on all the podcasts. This is almost like the official podcast microphone. Someone told me that Michael Jackson sang on this microphone. He used to like this microphone to sing on, which is sort of weird. I wouldn't think somebody would use this mic to sing, but somebody said on a good source, I read that he sang on these microphones. So it's a funny mic. It's a funny mic. You can get right up on it and it doesn't load up. Maybe that's why he likes singing on it. Somebody asked me if I ever was with a girl who was in porn. My girlfriend Erica did porn. In fact, she was doing porn when I met her, and then I told her to quit, and she quit. But um, she was wild, man. She was wild. Erica Huff. You ever heard of Gamble and Huff? If you Google Gamble and Huff, you won't believe it. They wrote more hits than the Beatles. I mean, these guys, the Philadelphia sound, they got streets named after them in Philly anyway. That was her father. Leon Huff was her father. And she was a wild, crazy, wild person. And so her father cut her off at one point to try to get her under control, because she was just like, party. And so to get even with her father, she went and did porn to embarrass him. And it worked, man. It embarrassed the fuck out of him, I'm sure. And Erica grew up really privileged. Her house was full of the most famous people in the world, the most famous preachers and politicians and stars, black stars. So she really grew up in the cat took my pen. I'll be right back. You took my pen, you bad boy. The cat took my pen. So yeah, I had a girlfriend that did porn. Erica was really fun. She never liked me as much as I liked her. Her and I were on and off for 10 years. It was like crazy. I would just have enough of her. She was just so nuts. She was just such a wild person. And I would just finally have enough of her, and she would go, and then a few months later we'd get back together, and this went on and off like that for 10 years. And she was one of the most fun people I've ever known in my life. She had a great enthusiasm for life. Like she went to school every day in a limo. I mean, she really grew up privileged, but she was very enthusiastic about life. Like you could say, I want to go to Taco Bell. And she goes, I love Taco Bell. She was like, she loved everything, man, whatever it was. And then there was another side of her that was just totally scary and crazy. Anyway, she was a great person. I really enjoyed my time with her. But I finally had enough, man. She is just beyond. I'm not going to tell you all the stories about stuff she did, but she did a lot of crazy ass shit. And I finally had enough. That's what's happened. She'd always do this crazy shit. I go, I can't take anymore, and we'd like split up, and then we'd come back together. Anyway, back and forth. She was really fun, and she was crazy, and she did porn. It's funny, her father, we had dinner with her father, and she hadn't seen her father since she started doing porn, and so he was really pissed about that, and I guess, and so we met them at the Four Seasons in Beverly Hills, him and his new wife. It was the funniest dinner I've ever had in my life. Here I am with Erica, and her father's with his new wife, who she's never met, and the new wife is Erica's age, so here, her father and I are both there, and Erica and this new wife are there, and they're both the same age. And then it turned out Huff had played with Chubby Checker, and I played with Chubby Checker too when I was a kid before I was in that Hollywood band. Guys like Chubby Checker, they used to go around the country and just get pickup bands. They didn't tour with the band because I guess they thought it was too expensive. So they just have pickup bands back in the day when Chubby Checker was a big deal. So I played in his band in California. Huff played in his band back east. So we had that in common. It was really funny. But it was the funniest dinner I've ever seen because Erica hadn't seen her father since she started doing porn. And it was just so weird. And then her and her sisters were I'm telling all their family shit. Her and her sisters were really uptight about him getting a new wife. And anyway, so he was trying to explain to us that he just wanted to be happy, Anyway, he was a cool guy. I met him that time. He was in town getting some award. Man, this guy that they wrote. You look up Gamble and Huff, man. They wrote more songs than anybody ever in history. They way more than the Beatles, way more than anybody. They probably wrote more hits and produced more hits than any people on the planet ever. I mean, they were totally prolific. And so Erica's whole life growing up, she was surrounded by all these people. And she had a photographic memory. Like you could play a song, an old song, an R&B song. She could tell you who wrote the song, what year it was recorded. And when she was a kid, she used to stand up and they'd try to stump her. They'd ask her questions and she could remember everything like that. So she was actually an amazing person with a real enthusiasm for life, but also crazy as can be, you know. And her father, nobody could control her, man. She was just wild. She was wild. And she would just pull some stunts, man. She would do stuff, and then you say, "Why did you do that?" And she'd just go, "Yeah." Anyway, I really liked her, but I had to stop doing that. I won't tell you what her biggest stunt was, but she pulled some stunts, man. So yeah, I had a girlfriend who was in porn. Yeah. Yeah, she's like one of those girls like you would see in a music video or something, one of those black music videos. She was just like fucking out there, man. But she could party me under the table. Her and Bitten and I used to go around and be partying. Man, after a day, I'd go, I gotta sleep, and then they just keep going for 2 or 3 days. They'd be up without sleeping. They'd just be nuts, man. And I just go, you guys can party me under the table. I would just leave me alone. I want to sleep, you know. They were nuts, anyway. The Killer Yacht Club, what was that? A Killer Yacht Club is just a bar. In our restaurant at Killer Shrimp, we have 2 bars, 2 restaurants. The Killer Cafe is a restaurant on the other side. It's all in the same building. Has its own parking lot too, and just amazing. Killer Cafe. I ate there this weekend 2 days. But the Killer Yacht Club is this bar. It's really pretty inside. And it's where all these bands play, you know, where it goes crazy every Friday night. All the A-list players are there, and yeah, that's a Killer Yacht Club. And Killer Ocean Adventures, some company brought us a couple of boats because they're trying to sell these electric boats, and so they brought us a couple of boats, and they're there, and people can rent the boats, and we have a guy that drives them around the marina and everything. It's, you know, it really didn't, I don't know what they're doing or why the boats are there. Not that many people do it, but it's fun if you like to doing that kind of stuff, you know. Yeah, it's fun. We have these 2 electric boats there. They're so weird. They cost like $100,000 each. So these little boats, and it's just crazy. But I don't know. I don't know. That's what Killer Ocean Adventures is. And that's my son. My son, that's all my son did the Killer Yacht Club. My son did Killer Sushi. My son did Killer Ocean Adventures. So that's my son's trip. No, it's not my trip, but I am part of Killer Shrimp. When was the last time I was in New York City? In New York City, God. I don't think I've been in New York City since the late 70s. I think that's probably the last time I was in New York City was in the late 70s. Yeah, so it's changed a lot, I'm sure. And in some ways it's the same. But I haven't been there in a long time. But, you know, you got to understand, from after you tour and you do touring, the last thing, my idea of vacation is not going someplace, you know what I mean? Like going someplace like that just seems like a chore. So if I'm not getting paid, I'm not going anywhere, you know. I'll just get on my bike and ride on the boardwalk, you know. But as far as going somewhere, that's not my idea of a vacation. Go someplace and hang out in a hotel room and sit there. What am I doing here? What am I doing here? You know, and I don't fish and I don't drink. So when I go down to Cabo to visit my relatives, I'm just sitting there going, what am I doing here, you know? Because I don't fish and I don't drink. Man, when you don't drink and you don't fish, what do, you know? Oh, when I lived in Wonderland and in Wonderland Park up in Laurel Canyon, no, I wasn't there during the famous murders when the porn guy got murdered. I wasn't there during that era. And yeah, I was long gone by then. I really didn't know Chris Stanton or whatever his name was, Stanton, whatever. I didn't know him. I never saw the Mad Dogs and Englishmen tour. We ran into those guys when they were on tour. We were on tour at the same time. I remember running into them in New York City at some all-night cafe, and we were all hanging out talking, and it was cool. But I never I never saw their show. You know, I was out doing my own thing. Um, Somebody asked me which was the most corrupt, the fight business or the music business. They're different, you know. They're really not the same at all, but there is a sameness to it. But I would say the fight business is more realistic in a way because the fighters win or they lose, and at the end of the fight, somebody's a winner and somebody's a loser, unless it's a tie. But the fight, the people, it's a pretty nasty business, and the people are gnarly, and you get lots of threats, and it's not for the timid of heart, man. The fight business is and you can't be timid and be involved. I realized I had no business being in the fight business because I'm not a really gnarly dude, you know. I'm just, in fact, I would call up and once we got in the top 10, I started getting threats at the middle of the night. I would get phone calls telling me I had no business being in the boxing world. And I go, yeah, I know, you're right. And it's just like when somebody tells me they hate my voice and I go, me too. It was the same sort of thing. People would tell me, you don't belong in the boxing business. I go, you're absolutely right. So what else? What else do you have to say to me? You know, here we are, here I am. But they were right in a way, you know. It was not a business for me. After our final big fight, and I realized I'm done with this boxing business because I like the gym and I like the boxers and I like that whole scene, but the business side of it was really bad, and then it was a really tough business, and the people were tough, and it's not for the faint of heart. I had fun time and I held my own, you know what I mean? I did all right. We did all right. We got up there, man. I really did it. Yeah, I'm proud of what I did in boxing, but the music business is more pathetic, you know, because like people can hold on to that dream, and I've talked about this before. Like in sports, you win, you lose. You know by the time you're in your late teens if you're anything or not. You know, you just know it. You're either good enough or you're not good enough. There's cut and dry. So you don't hold on to the delusion that the athletes don't be delusional. You know you're not. You know you're done. You know when you're done. You know, but in the music business, people don't know they're done, and so they're out there. You know, that don't think they're done. You know, even when they're done. You know, and so people hold on to the dream, or somebody holds on to the dream about, oh, I could have a hit, or I could be a success again, or you know, that's a dark side of the music business. But as far as the people are concerned, all the musicians have always got screwed. I read that they're still getting screwed. It's just the nature of the business, man. It's not. I don't know if I think in a way all business is like that, man. Business is tough, man. You do business, you're on your own, man. Whenever you can do any business, it isn't like somebody's like so thrilled that you're doing business. You know, you're on your own. It's not for the faint of heart being an entrepreneur or doing that. But the music business is kind of a cesspool of. It's really, you know, the people that are a lot of musicians, you know, people are trying to be famous. You know, I hate to say it like that because they say, no, it's about the music, but really the truth is when you're out there making records and you're trying to be somebody or do concerts, you're trying to be famous. I mean, you could say, no, I don't care about that. Well, okay, think what you want. But everybody out there who's trying to go for it, they know part of going for it is being famous. So they're trying to be famous, whether they'll admit it or not. And I don't know, man. It's a pathetic thing, you know. You gotta check yourself up. I kind of, you know who I respect? I respect Grace Slick because she hasn't gone out there and she isn't out there still trying to rehash her old shit. She had the dignity to say, I'm done, you know. And when she was done, she was done. And I understand she lives in Malibu and she does art and stuff. And I'm really, I'm proud of her because she had the dignity to step away, you know. And some people just won't step away, you know. Now, I think about playing all the time, you know. Sometimes I see other guys out there playing. I think, oh man, I could go out there and play. But it's so weird. And then I think, oh yeah, I'm all stooped over. I'd be out there, some old stooped over guy playing my one hit. I could play a medley of my hit. Anyway, uh, yeah, I think about it. It's so weird, going and playing. So I do other stuff, which is just as weird. I guess playing was all right, but I like that Grace Slick knew when to hang it up, man. She says enough is enough, and she realized it's a business of young people. And I know there's some successful older bands, and my hat's off to them, and they really are. Yeah, they're doing good, man. They're doing good. And some of them are better than others. Some of them are really pathetic, and then some of them are less pathetic. Um, some of them are really good. Like the Eagles are still good, I have some friends that saw them recently at that Sphere Dome place in Vegas, and they said they were really good. And yeah, so I don't know. Each band is different. Some bands have more. They have more. Yeah, some bands are like that. I heard Zeppelin's going to tour again. That would be cool, man. I think that would be a nice tour. Anyway, but I respect Grace Slick for knowing when to hang it up. You just got to say, yeah. Anyway, every person's different. I'm not judging anybody, So everybody's different. Yeah. I think about playing. Sometimes I think about it, and then I think, I don't know. Like I'll tell you something. Here's something. Most people, when they have a disease, or some physical ailment or something, you can't see it. They may not look totally healthy or whatever, but you really can't see their disease, But I have ankylosing spondylitis, so I'm stooped over. Like if I stand up, I can't see, I can't see in front of me, I'm really stooped over. So like I'm sitting here right now, I'm leaned back, but if I get up straight, you can see how stooped over I am. And so I think, oh, that would be so creepy. Some old guy all stooped over coming out on stage to play. Ah! I can't be that guy, man. I just can't do it, My disease kicked in ankylosing spondylitis kicks in when you're younger. So I've been dealing with this for 30, 40 years, and it really, when you're younger, it really works your head because you're younger and you're stooped over, and it really fucking works your head, man. I was like freaked out totally. I kicked in my late 30s, so I've been dealing with this a long time. So, and that has something to do with why I don't play, and why I haven't played. And I know people are going to say, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to you, but it matters to me. So I just don't want to be remembered that way. I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't even want to be remembered, but for that matter, but yeah, I just can't. I just can't. It just feels weird to me. Like a year or so ago, I thought about. I was talking to my friend Scott Sternberg, and he produced the Daryl's House shows and stuff. He said, "Well, Lee, you should go out and play." And I was thinking, I almost thought about it, And then I thought, wait a minute, what am I thinking about, man? I'm going to go out there, rockers with walkers or something. Anyway, yeah. So back to my story, if I diverted. Yeah, most diseases, you can't see the person's disease, but my disease, you can see it, man. It's just like you can see it. Like every second you can see it, you know what I mean? So like it's a disease that you can see. It's like people coming up to me, what happened to you? What happened to you? When I was younger, people come up to me and go, stand up straight, be proud. And it would freak me out because I'd realize I can't stand up straight. And I am proud, but I can't stand up straight. But people give me a hard time, when I was younger about that. Some people, be it art openings or stuff, and people would come up and say stuff to me. So anyway, I quit going places because I just don't like to deal with that. But yeah, I don't think I could play out. It just would be so pathetic, Anyway, so all that from asking me what's more corrupt, the five business or the music business. It's all bad. It's all business, you know what I mean? Business is weird. I don't. Somebody said feed my grandkids candy. Yeah, I don't feed them candy. I don't see them that much. My one granddaughter is like 26, and she's going to college and stuff, and getting her master's and her PhD or whatever the fuck, and she's out there on her own doing her own thing. And my other granddaughter's 11. I see her every now and then, but yeah, they live in Thousand Oaks, and I live in Venice, and I just don't see them all the time. I see my son Kevin more often. Oh, somebody's asking me about where do they get safety head. It's not safety head, it's safety gun. Safety gun. Um, it was a concept. We were going to manufacture them and sell them, sell firearms. That's a dirty business too. Anyway, I was going to manufacture those, and I had these guys were getting involved with me. I had three people that were going to get involved with me. One was a lawyer. One was the guy who started the Circuit City, did all the Circuit City things, and another guy, a friend of mine who was a stockbroker. Anyway, we were all going to do it. Every one of their wives said, no way, man. Their wives just freaked out that they were going to get involved in selling guns, man. They just thought that was the worst. They just totally they rebelled. They were ready to divorce them over that. They just didn't want to hear about it, man, selling guns, man. But I thought safety gun is a great idea. If you watch my movie, you can see the segment on safety gun. But yeah, everybody's wife didn't want to do it. So I have to get partners that don't have wives or something. So I never put safety guns. Just another one of those crazy ideas I had, and I never developed the idea of maybe I should have. Maybe I should be selling firearms. I don't know. But there's probably some karma attached to selling guns anyway, so I don't need that. But it's not called safety hit. It's called safety gun. I never hang with Joe Walsh. And you're right, the James Gang opened me at the forum that time when I was having a mental breakdown. Somebody asked me if I knew Stephen Stills and Neil Young. I knew Neil a little and Stephen less. I ran into Stephen a few times, you know. Yeah, back in the day when they were in Buffalo Springfield, you know, before they started Crosby, Stills and Nash. I ran into him a few times. Ran into Neil a few times. But I really never hung with those guys a lot, you know. I wasn't part of their scene, but I knew them, yeah, a little, very little. Neil was a customer at Prune Music, the store that I owned with all those guys. So, yeah. Procol Harum. I never knew Procol Harum, but I liked their organ sound. I remember Procol Harum's organ sound was pretty cool. It wasn't the kind of sound I was playing, but I recognized their organ sound as cool. They had a good organ sound, Procol Harum. So, yeah, I like them. I didn't listen to their albums a lot, but I like that. I didn't know Eric Burden. I met him a couple of times, but you know, you meet people, but you don't really know them. You meet somebody, hang out backstage a little bit, but you really don't know them. So yeah, I met him, but I didn't know him. Yeah, it'd be cool. Somebody said it would be cool to do a Lee Michaels, whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. How are you all doing? I know I always ask you, how are you all doing? Is everybody happy out there? I feel like Chris Stanton, I never knew him. Somebody asked me that earlier. So that's the end of the questions today. I've told you some stories. God, asking me about my girlfriend Erica, man, that was crazy. It started reminding me of all these stories and all the wild shit she did. She was the wildest girl I've ever known, man. She was just fucking beyond party, man. She was party for days. And when her and Bitten, my friend Bitten, the three of us would get together, it was total chaos, man. It was crazy, so crazy. Yeah, I miss Bitten. I don't miss Erica. Yeah, Erica was so crazy, man. I would just go, why am I letting her back into my life? And we would get back together and I go, what am I doing? What am I doing? But she's so much fun. And then finally I'd go, I can't take it anymore. Anyway, yeah, she was a trip. She was a trip. Life is a trip. Today I'll have lunch with my friend Paul, and he's a stepfather to my kids. He was married to Mary after I was married to her. I was married to her for 17 years. He was married to her for 18 years. She died, and we became great friends, and we have lunch every Monday. That shows you how ironic life can be. And we're really quite different. He's a real successful business guy, but we have a lot of stuff in common. So it's kind of funny, we have great lunches and we talk about amazing shit. But sometimes we talk about women, and I go women, man. I'm not with a woman right now. I think what I have to offer a woman, like what am I going to say? Hey, wait, you want to come on the death march? I always say, are we doing the death march or the death dance? I guess I'm doing the death dance because I'm so happy all the time. Some people are doing the death march, they're marching to their death, you know what I mean? So I guess the choice is ours, you're either doing the death march or the death dance. But anyway, sometimes I see women and they seem they're attractive and they're kind of cool and friendly, and I think, man, that girl's kind of cool, And then I start thinking, what am I going to do with the girl, And I don't want to wake up every day and try to wonder if I'm going to make somebody happy or worry about what kind of mood somebody's in. I think, enough said. And then I have friends that are in relationships that are pure hell, man, and they wake up every day and they're walking on eggs and they don't know every day if their wife is going to be in a good mood or a bad mood. And they just suck it. And I think, man, why would I want to do that to myself? And I also think, what do I have to offer somebody? What am I going to say to somebody, say, hey, you want to come on the death march with me or the death dance or whatever, the death, you know what I mean? What does somebody have to look forward to with me? I'm fucking almost 80 years old. How long am I going to live? They're going to hang out and watch me die or some shit. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Women are a funny thing, you know what I mean? Plus I'm so into my own trip, man. I'm just doing all my little creative things. I'm doing AI, playing music every day. I'm just having fun. I'm cruising around on my bike. I don't have a care in the world. I'm not trying to make anybody happy. Maybe I'm just selfish, man. But I think, man, what an ordeal it would be to be trying to make somebody happy every day. And I know there's a different way to look at it. You can look at it like, yeah, you don't that, but I don't know. I don't feel like I have anything to offer anybody, and I don't think anybody has anything to offer to me, because all they'd be is a distraction, you know what I mean? Like, I think every day my days are just full of stuff. I'm doing stuff all day long, and I'm having fun all day long, and everything's so cool, I think having a girl in my life right now would be just fucking crazy. I would just be spinning, because anytime you're in a relationship, you have to put a certain amount of energy into that, It requires your energy. So I put energy into that, and what would I get in back? I would just be a distraction, you know what I mean? Like, I'm the happiest when I'm alone. I wake up, I do whatever I want, I say whatever I want, I think whatever I want. I play music whenever I want. I'm not trying to make anybody happy. Maybe I'm just selfish. I don't know. I guess that's it. I'm selfish. I'm too selfish to be in a relationship right now. Maybe I've always been too selfish. I don't know. I'm doing my own thing. I got all these creative things I'm doing, and I just think, what a distraction it would be to have somebody. I'm trying to make somebody happy, and I don't like going to dinner and stuff, people like to go out and eat and shit. I hate that, you know what I mean? Just like I don't like going on vacations to places. I think, oh, it's just like being on tour. I spent so many years in hotel rooms. I think, oh yeah, that's not my idea of a vacation, So I don't know. Boy, I'm talking about weird shit. We need a couch here. Let's get Freud in here and explain to me what I'm thinking. Anyway, and I got to admit, sometimes I see girls and they look good, and I see these women and I think, wow, man, she looks pretty good, and I start becoming delusional for a minute, but then I back up and I go, wait a minute, you know, like yeah. Like I'll see somebody say, wow, you're really cool. Why don't you come over to my studio and we'll hang out? And then I don't follow up on it, man. I don't follow up on it because I think, what am I doing? What am I doing? It's fucking crazy. Yeah, it's crazy, man. What am I doing? Anyway, there's a girl I've been tripping on lately. She's kind of cool, man. Very artistic and cool. And I say, yeah, you got to come by my studio. And she goes, yeah, that'll be cool. And then I don't follow up on it because I think, yeah, what am I doing, man? What am I doing? Yeah, I'm having too much fun. I think, how could anything be more fun than what I'm doing right now? I'm in the happiest I've ever been in my life. And I'm going to like try to insert somebody into that. And what would their role be in my life? To make me happy or me to make them happy? Or I guess, we could make each other happy. I don't know. It just seems like, I don't know. Boy, I'm getting down and personal today, man. You got me talking about Erica, my girlfriend. And, yeah, getting down and personal. Anyway, I think I'm done with women on some level. But then, like I say, then I meet people and they're kind of exciting, and I think, because I've always liked women, but I don't know. At this point, I'm selfish. I don't have anything to offer anybody, man. What would I don't have nothing to offer anybody. I'm way too selfish. It would just be not enjoyable for anyone to be around me, I don't think. Anyway, fuck, I should shut up. Okay, I'm going to get out of here, man. I talked to my friend Jesse. My friend Jesse and I were born the same year, the same day. And we have all these amazing coincidences throughout our whole life. Even when we were kids, we talk about our childhood. We have all these things that are the same. So him and I sometimes talk about women. Maybe that's what old guys do. They talk about women, Anyway, I've had a good life. I've been with a million beautiful women that I really thought were cool people. Yeah, maybe I'm done with that. I don't know. For now, I'm done with it. Yeah. Hey, want to hang out with me till I die? Yeah, I don't know about that, man. It just sounds so weird. Hey, why don't you come over and check me out? We'll have a near-death experience. It would be really cool, I don't know. That's not something I couldn't recommend that. So I guess it could be really selfish and just, think only about myself. But I just think about, yeah, man, what do you do? Anyway, Jesse's out there. I know he's listening to my podcast. We're born on the same day, the same year. Hey, Jesse, you're my brother. We got some kind of cosmic connection, dude. And, yeah, we got a connection. I have a lot of great friends, man, and I really love my life, and I don't know about inserting a woman into it, if that would be just total distraction. Yeah. Ew, this sounds creepy to me. It's sort of like Grace Slick knowing when it's time to hang it up. I realized, hey, I've had a great life, been with a lot of really beautiful, wonderful women, and you got to know when to hang it up, man. You got to know when to hang it up. Anyway, I'm having too much fun now. I don't need to do that anymore. Anyway, but sometimes I see these girls and they look damn good. Anyway, I'm repeating myself. I'm embarrassed, man. I think, how do I delete my podcast? How do I see? That's why people, they do podcasts and they edit them, and then they show you what they want to show you. But I do live streams, so my thing is live. So open mouth, insert left foot. Anyway, I'm out of here before I say any more. Yeah, I don't know what to say to you guys. I think some of you understand what I mean. Yeah, you people understand what I mean. Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I would go. Hope you're having fun. Send me some questions. Oh, you know what I always forget to say? I always forget to say, don't forget to subscribe. We're getting really close to 1,000 subscribers. I think when I get 1,000 subscribers, I'm not going to go through the process to monetize, because with 1,000 subscribers, you don't make any money anyway. And we'd have all these commercials in my show, and I wouldn't make any money really to speak of. So that would be kind of corny. It would be like torturing ourselves, having commercials. Anyway, hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. I know that I keep saying now for over a year, I've said, if you hit the like button, the algorithm will know that someone likes the show. But I don't know. Anyway, yeah, today is weird. This is a weird show. I'm talking about really personal stuff. It gets more personal as it goes along. So ask me some questions that aren't personal. And hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you want, if you don't want. And I'm going to thoroughly embarrass myself when I tell you this story when we hit 1,000 subscribers. Maybe I'll chicken out and not tell it, but I have to tell it now that I've said that. And also the idea of having an 80th birthday party at Killer Shrimp sounds pretty good, but I know I'll chicken out on that too, because I'm not like that. I don't like to celebrate myself. Anyway, I hope you're all having fun. I hope this hasn't been too much of a Freudian or whatever it is, but it is what it is. I'm going to get out of here. 3, 2, 1. I'll see you tomorrow. Poof.